Welcome back to Wayne's World of Gaming, where we play, talk about and collect everything PlayStation. Now, if you haven't guessed by now, I am a big PlayStation fan, so I thought it would be a good idea to do a couple of little series now. And this series is going to be my top 10 PlayStation 1 games of all time. So I'm going to go through my favourite top 10 PlayStation 1 games. I'll carry on the series, do PS2, 3, 4 and 5. But today we're focusing on PlayStation 1. These are games that I think were the pinnacle of PlayStation 1. Some of them are, when the console first released, near the launch of the PlayStation 1, and some are further on into the life cycle of the PlayStation 1. So hope you're going to enjoy, and these are my top 10. Now, coming in at number 10 is Gran Turismo 2. Now, this game improved on pretty much everything of the original game, which was a vast success. Absolutely awesome game. But Gran Turismo 2, the amount of cars you could have and the tracks, this surpassed every racing game in the world, and it really did earn itself the name of the real driving simulator. As for the time, the graphics were fantastic. They still hold up pretty well today, if you ask me. And the actual driving, you felt like you was driving a real car. My favourite racing game of all time, closely followed by Gran Turismo 3. I actually prefer Gran Turismo 2. And who remembers the scratch and sniff disc you used to be able to get? You could scratch it and actually smell some tyre. So that is Gran Turismo 2. That is coming in at number 10. Number 9 on my list is Driver. Now, who remembers playing Driver? When this came out, it was a little bit of a sensation. I remember reading about it in PlayStation magazine. Couldn't get over the 3D world and how you could drive your car around and the police chased you. It's something we just take for granted now, like with all the different Grand Theft Autos and the different clones. Please remember, this was way before GTA 3. First time it was ever done. Absolutely fantastic game. And who remembers the first level, trying to pass your tests as such, doing all the challenges? Absolutely solid, but it's number 9 on my list. Coming in at number 8, Destruction Derby. I've put this just above Driver and Gran Turismo 2, purely because of the fun I used to have. Graphically, not as good. It wasn't as technical as such, but there was so much fun to be had with this game. I played it for hours and hours and hours with my friends. The bowl was just tremendous. You would just go in and wreck the hell out of each other. The soundtrack was amazing for back in the day, and I loved the commentator. So this game forever holds a place in my heart. It was one of the first games I wanted to get for my PlayStation collection. Absolutely incredible. They should do a remake. I know they have Wreckfest on PS5, which I haven't played, so I can't comment. But imagine this with all the today's graphics. It would be absolutely insane. So that is Destruction Derby, coming in at number 8. Number 7, we have Vagrant Story. Now, I asked a lot of the Wolfpack members what their top 10 would be to see if I'd missed any. I'd already compiled this list. None of them said Vagrant Story. Now, this to me is a little hidden gem. It's made by Square. Well, Square Enix as they're known today, but they was known as Square then. The makers of Final Fantasy. It's a role-playing game, and it's pretty damn cool. Not a lot of people talk about this, and I just feel it's such a hidden gem. You have great puzzles, it's a great storyline, it's fun to play. Square know how to make an RPG. I think we can all agree on that. So I've put Vagrant Story in at number 7. It had to be in the top 10. I wasn't quite sure where to put this one, but it's in at number 7. If you haven't checked it out, go and give it a go. I don't think you'll regret it. Here we are at number 6. Now, would this list be complete without a Tekken game? And the beauty of the first PlayStation is we've got 3 titles to choose from. I've gone for the first one, so the original Tekken. The reason I've done that, this game changed my way of thinking with fighters. Previously to this, the only beat-em-up game I played was Street Fighter. To play this in 3D with a bit of a story mode blew my mind. I played this for hours and hours and hours and hours, weeks after weeks after weeks. I loved the characters. King was my favourite, but I had a soft spot for Yoshimitsu too. I'd have my friends round, we would just play this until the sun went away, basically. Tekken is set the standard for a lot of fighting games, I believe, and I could have picked Tekken 3, it was close, but I've gone for the original, so that is Tekken coming in at number 6. And who remembers having Gallagher on the loading screen when you're loading this game up and you're waiting? Icing on the cake, that is. Awesome, absolutely loved it. This is where things get interesting. Number 5, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. What can I say about this game? It needs no introduction. Absolutely fantastic game. Soundtrack was impeccable. Probably the best soundtrack of a game of all time. I have played the remaster or remake on the PS2. Doesn't hit the same. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've been there and done it all before. But Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 took the world by storm. It got everyone my age wanting to be a skateboarder. We played it for hours, trying to get all the letters to spell out skate and all the little tasks on it, every level. It just had a bit of everything. The soundtrack, like I said, was out of this world. It was hard not to put this higher, but I've had to pick other games. This top 10 has been really hard for me to compile. Tony Hawk obviously had to go in there, and I've had to set him down at number 5. But if I could, he would be up higher, joint. Number 4. You might be a bit shocked with this. You may have thought this would have been a bit higher, being of the games I like and things. But in at number 4, we have Silent Hill. One of my most favourite franchises of all time. It set the tone, I think, for survival horror in a way. Obviously, you had Alone in the Dark before it and Resident Evil. But Silent Hill took it to a different level. It was more of a psychological horror, and you used your brain a little bit more, and it kind of tapped into your brain and used fear against you as such, and the not knowing and the things that you can't see. Absolute masterpiece. Still holds up today. Still get chills when I play through this now. It is in my top 4. I wish I could have placed it higher, but like I said, this is so hard to do. If you haven't played the original Silent Hill, please do. I think Silent Hill 2, though, is probably one of the best games ever created. This, though, as set it up, is amazing. Now, we all know this game. This has to go on a PlayStation top 10 list, doesn't it? Final Fantasy VII. This is my top 3, my 3rd favourite game. This game was a just masterclass in games. Do you remember when it came and it had all those discs? You was like, what the hell is going on here? This game is humongous. You could sink hours and hours into this game. The story's phenomenal. The combat, I'm not a great fan of turn-based combat, I'm not going to lie. But I would sacrifice it for this game. One of the greatest stories ever told. I think you'll all agree with me. If you have played this, everyone knows what a hit this game was and how influential it was. It's another Square game, or Squaresoft, or Square Enix, whatever they want to be called. I think they were just Square then. They might have been Squaresoft. They know how to make an RPG, and this was their defining moment. This is where they turned everything on its head, and everyone was like, oh my god, what are we working with here? Absolutely outstanding game. 3rd, it's not my top 2, obviously. You'll see why for what other games I picked, but this is one of the best PlayStation games ever made, in my opinion. Well, I suppose they all are. That's why I've made this list. Obviously, if you disagree with any, let me know in the comments. But back to Final Fantasy VII. If you haven't played this, get it played. I've played through the remake and rebirth on the PS5, which are retelling of this story. Still doesn't hit as hard as the first time ever playing it on the PS1. So get round to it, get it done, get it played. Coming in at number 2, it had to be a Resident Evil game, didn't it? If you watch the channel, you know how much I love Resident Evil. Resident Evil 2. This is, probably my favourite ever survival horror game. It is outstanding in every way. Graphically, the story. It took everything from Resident Evil and improved it. So the graphics were slightly better. The gameplay was slightly better. I much rather the setting. The voice acting was vastly improved from the first game. I got much love for the first Resident Evil, but we all know how cheesy that voice acting is. Resident Evil 2 took away that cheesy voice acting. It got rid of the live cutscenes and used 3D animation for all the cutscenes in the game. And if you played this, you will never ever forget the first time you come into contact with the liquor. Oh my god, what a scene that was. That haunted my dreams for weeks. But this is the pinnacle of Resident Evil, if you ask me. It has only gone downhill ever since. I shouldn't say that, in all fairness. I am a Resident Evil fan. Resident Evil 3 was great. Still didn't touch on Resident Evil 2. The newer stuff's great, but I don't know. It's something about this game, whether it was just the age it hit me or the time we was living in. But when this dropped, and I picked this up from Dixon's with my birthday money for $49.99, I got it home, I put it on, I was absolutely mesmerised, and I have loved this game with a passion ever since. It came with 2 discs. You could play 2 different scenarios. So you had Scenario A, which was Leon, Scenario B, which was Claire, and I liked the way how they made it. Was the same story, but you played it from someone else's perspective, so the actual gameplay wasn't exactly the same. You went through different parts of the police station and you kind of like met up in the middle, and you get to see it from both angles, which I've never seen done in a video game until this point. I don't know if it had been, prove me wrong, but yeah, it just took my breath away. So that is why Resident Evil 2 is coming in at number 2, because to me this is one of the greatest video games ever made. And yes, you've probably guessed it, because this wasn't further down the list. No list would be complete without Metal Gear Solid. What do I say about this? Hideo Kojima, the man was a genius when he made this game. It took gaming to a completely different level. I think he kind of changed gaming forever. This thing was like a blockbuster movie back in the day. The cutscenes, the dialogue, the way it was all put together, the story. I cannot say enough about this game. The stealth. I keep saying it blew me away with every game, but this game was just next level. I had a playable demo, and I just played it over and over and over. It was basically where you get into the dock, and you have to sneak past the guards, and you just get in the lift. That was as far as the demo went. You went up in the lift, and the demo was over. But I loved it so much, I would just play it and play it and play it. I'd try all these different things. I'd be tapping the walls and getting the guards to follow me, making them follow my footprints. I would kill them one way, then try a different way, and then I'd stun them. And I didn't actually buy this game on release. I couldn't afford it, if I'm honest. And it wasn't until, I think my cousin bought it actually, and I was playing it over his house, and I was like, this is amazing. I may have actually even borrowed his copy to play through it myself. And wow. The bad guys, you've got Revolver Ocelot, you've got Vulcan Raven, Sniper Wolf, Liquid Snake, Psycho Mantis. You didn't see villains like that in games before. And what I liked was you had to attack them all differently. You couldn't just go in and guns are blazing or get a sword and chop them all up. You had to think about them all individually. You had to tactically work out how to kill them. And they all had different different ways. Like Psycho Mantis, this is where the game like broke the fourth wall. He would actually read your memory card and tell you what games you had saved on your memory card. And if you didn't have anything saved, you would be a reckless player. He could also read your moves through the controller. So the way of getting out of that was to pull it out of player 1's port and put it into player 2, so he couldn't read your mind. He said he was going to demonstrate his power, so you put the controller on the floor, and he says, I'm going to move the controller with the power of my mind, and it used the vibration of the dual shock function of the controller to actually shake the controller and move it across the floor. That had never been done before, and like when I go on about breaking the fourth wall, you need to find Meryl's codec code to give her a call, a frequency, sorry. And it says check the CD case, and you actually look at the back of the game case, and it is on the back of the game case. It broke the fourth wall in so many ways. It paved the way for gaming. To me, it's a 10 out of 10 game. I have played this recently. I played it on the Master Collection, and I played it on the original. So in the last 12 months, I have had 2 playthroughs of this game. I can pick it up and play it any day of the week. It is outstanding. So my top choice for PlayStation 1 game goes to Metal Gear Solid. So there we are. That was my top 10. What do you think of my top 10? Do you think I made the right choice? Do you think I missed something out? Leave in the comments if there's anything that should have been in there, or you feel should have been in there that I didn't put in there, or if there's any games you hadn't played or never heard of in that list. And write down some of the memories of the games that you have played out of that list, and whether I've done a good job, and maybe we got some that are very similar. So thank you all for watching. I'll catch you all on the next one. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and game on.
Big respect to the gamer, name of Wayne. In his world PlayStation reigns the same, and he's got love for the levels, high score or not. But for now, he'll show you why his collection's hot. Wayne's Game Save!